Independence Day, a day of fun, laughter, barbecues, fireworks. But for some, it includes a day filled with sitting down in front of the Sci-Fi channel to watch one of the best television shows ever created, The Twilight Zone. And now it is one reviewer's duty to tell you all his top 10 favorite episodes of this series. Sit back and relax because you are about to enter the top 10 episodes of The Twilight Zone. How's it going, everybody? As I mentioned in my kind of cheesy little Rod Serling intro, I'm going to be reviewing the top 10 best Twilight Zone episodes in conjunction with the Twilight Zone marathon that I usually see every 4th of July and New Year's Eve / New Year's Day. The Twilight Zone is possibly one of the best television shows ever created because the anthologies of the stories, the anthology is just entirely, it's not entirely original, but it does have some really great stories in there that either just kind of blow your mind with the great twist endings or just kind of scare you a little bit because of some of the horrifying events that are going on screen. So I thought that I'd just go ahead and tell you what my top 10 favorite episodes are, and I hope that you all enjoy it. After the video, let me know what your top 10 favorites are. Write down in the comments below. Now, before I begin, I just want to go ahead and start with something called honorable mentions. These are the different episodes that are good and I really enjoy, but just didn't really cut it into my top 10 list. And these honorable mentions include A Stop at Willoughby, Stopover in a Quiet Town, To Serve Man, Will the Real Martian Please Stand Up, A Game of Pool, and number 12, Looks Just Like You. Now that the honorable mentions are out of the way, let's go ahead and begin with number 10, which is Nightmare at 20,000 Feet, starring William Shatner. This follows a nervous man who has recently been released from a mental hospital and is on the plane home. But on the way back, he notices that there is a gremlin on the wing. This is possibly one of my favorite episodes because it's just builds such great tension, and I really enjoy how the gremlin is constantly taunting William Shatner whenever he tries to show people that there's something on the wing of the plane. It's just so funny to see him like pressing up against the window and just having him just constantly dig through the airplane wing, and I really enjoy how the whole thing ends. It's not really much of a twist, but it's more of like an interesting way of ending the episode. So, pretty much Nightmare at 20,000 Feet, it's very memorable. A lot of people know that when you say there's a gremlin on the wing, or there's something on the wing, they honestly know that you're thinking about the Twilight Zone Nightmare at 20,000 Feet. So, that episode, number 10 for sure. Now we move on to number 9, which is The Eye of the Beholder. This story is about a woman who's covered in bandages because she's known as completely ugly throughout her entire society, so she's trying to get facial surgery in order to look like everybody else. But pretty much nothing is as it seems. I won't spoil it because it's possibly one of the best twists in the Twilight Zone's history. But once you see the twist, it's a great reveal. The whole thing, they're not showing anybody's faces. I still don't want to spoil why, but I'll just say that it's for a good reason. You'll see why. It's a very great episode. It's got great acting from everybody. And I just really enjoyed the reveal at the very end about what's going on. And I just love the actress's constant, please take the bandages off, take the bandages off. It's just, her acting was very believable. I really enjoyed her performance, and the script was just near flawless. I didn't really see any problems with it at all. So pretty much, Eye of the Beholder is possibly one of his best. I really enjoy it. Coming in at number 8 is Time Enough at Last. This follows a bank worker who absolutely loves to read, and when he goes down into the vault to read while he eats lunch, there's like a huge nuclear holocaust that destroys everybody, but because of him hiding in that safe, he's the only survivor left on Earth. So he pretty much has time enough to read because everybody just keeps on taunting him for how much he loves to do that. Now, The reason why this is a little bit further than Eye of the Beholder is because the ending to this, it just completely blows your mind more than it does in Eye, because you pretty much just feel sorry for the poor guy because he gets pretty much, I'm going to go ahead and spoil this one. I really can't kind of keep this one to myself, so I'm going to so right here, I'm going to say spoiler. If you want to mute this, you can go ahead. But pretty much once his glasses fall off into the ground and the lenses crack and he can't read at all, you feel really sorry for the guy, because you just grow around just seeing how he loves to do this and now he can't, which is like, it makes it the ultimate twist because the character development is so great that you actually feel bad for this poor guy. So yeah, Time Enough at Last, possibly one of the greatest episodes. It's my number 8. Now we're going to move on to something a little bit more Christmassy with number 7, with Night of the Meek, which follows a drunk who is playing a department store Santa. He absolutely does not believe in anything Christmas. He's just kind of like a modern day Scrooge, well, modern day for the 50s and 60s for that matter. But then he comes across a magical bag and he soon becomes Santa Claus himself. Now, I know that this isn't really kind of a scary story. It just seems more like a Christmas special or something like that. But it's very enjoyable. It's a very well-written script. And I love how the cameras are set around to make it look like it's blocked like a play, pretty much. And it's really interesting to see how the man just completely turns nice instead of just being a drunk and just going around and ruining everybody's Christmas, especially for the kids. And it's not really scary, but it brings a warm feeling to your heart, and it's just a great one to watch around Christmas time, and it's just a fantastic episode. So Night of the Meek is definitely in this top 10 for a reason. I watch it every year at Christmas because it's just so well written and so well acted and has such a great message behind it. So yeah, Night of the Meek. Coming in at number 6 is 5 Characters in Search of an Exit, which follows a major, a bagpiper, a clown, a ballerina, and a hobo, all found inside this giant metallic cylinder. They're wondering why they're there, why they're there, and how to get out of there. And it's just really interesting because, like, it's just these 5 mysterious characters. They know nothing about each other. They don't know why they're there. Their memories are completely blanked. And it's just really fun to see how, like, they're coming up with all these ideas about how to get out, but also they're developing their characters very well by just speaking with each other and just bantering off of each other because, like, they're acting like they're personas pretty much, because they are their personas. So it's just interesting to see how all these different people would interact, like how the ballerina would talk to the hobo or the major would talk to the clown. It's really interesting to see how their different personas could banter with each other instead of just having a special episode for each. And also, most of these episodes are going to be in here because of the twist ending, and this one just completely caught me by surprise the first time I saw it. I never saw this ending coming. It is just completely out of left field, but it's worth it. I love this ending for this episode. I love to watch this every single year. It's possibly one of the best. That's why it's in this top 10. So yeah, 5 Characters in Search for an Exit. You absolutely have to see this one to actually get a feel for what the Twilight Zone is. So yeah, number 6. Alright, we're now down to the top 5 left. So here we go. Starting at number 5, The Invaders. This entirely silent story is about a hermit woman who pretty much, as described by the word hermit, she lives by herself. When suddenly a spaceship comes down, all these little tiny people are just running around and they're shooting these lasers at her, and she's got to find a way to stop them. Now, I absolutely love this because there's no dialogue at all, except for like maybe the last little bit. There's barely any dialogue. You have to go off of facial expressions and actions, which this woman pulls off extremely well. Now, the little people are obviously just like little wind-up toys, which pretty much, they're still awesome to watch, but this obviously you're not going to get any facial expressions from them. But the woman is just magnificent in this. Whenever she's scared, she has a great expression on her face. Whenever she's sad or frightened, she just does a great job with the facial stuff. And I love the actions that she does. Like sometimes she's swinging an axe with furious rage, and sometimes she's just hiding, and you can really believe her performance. And of course, the ending, like usual, just completely, you do not see it coming. Well, maybe you kind of do. It all depends on how you perceive this, but the first time I saw this, never saw it coming. So yeah, The Invaders definitely deserves to be in the top 5. So yeah, number 5. Moving in on to number 4 is It's a Good Life, which follows young little Anthony, who is perceived as a monster because he can pretty much just look at things and make them happen. And in order, he can read people's minds, so people need to be happy all day, every day, or else he will do something to them. Now, I love this story because it just creates a great little premise of how a boy can just rule this entire town. And it's just fun to see how he just looks at people and just gets his own way. It's just a lot of fun to see this. The little boy does a great job for a kid actor. I mean, he still gets kind of high and squealy like most little kids do, but it's kind of passable because of all the grown-ups talking to him. Like pretty much he'll go, "Mom, can I have a chocolate cake?" And she goes, anything for you, Anthony. It's all for you." It's just, the adults are what make this episode, not just little Anthony, because you can tell that they're just frightened of this little kid, which is pretty much, you're not supposed to be frightened of a little kid. It's just a kid, and he just comes off as terrifying whenever he's doing something. Now, there's not really a huge twist in this episode, but Anthony's actions just, I love the way that this story goes. So yeah, it deserves the top 5, just like The Invaders. So yeah, number 4. Moving on to number 3, this title is in there for a pretty good reason. The Odyssey of Flight 33. This follows a group of people on an airplane who suddenly, undescribably, go back in time. Now, I don't want to give too much away here, but it's such an interesting little story. It's just fun to see these people just going, "Oh my god, what's going on? We're going so fast!" It's just, I don't know why I keep saying it's just so much fun. It's because I should pretty much be saying that this one is really intriguing, because you don't know why these people are there, but the cast for the pilot's crew are just, they work so well together. The banter between each other is just great to listen to. You believe every single second of it. And I love whenever they look outside the window to see what's going on outside. It's always just a slap in the face, just going, wow, I cannot believe this is happening. So yeah, Odyssey of Flight 33, number 3, it deserves to be there. It's one of my favorites. Alright, here we go. Time for the final 2. Number 2 is, I think, it's not the first Twilight Zone episode I've seen, but it is definitely the one that got me into the series. Living Doll, which follows a stepfather who learns that this doll just kind of has a will of her own. Her name is Taki Tina, and she wants to kill him. This episode, it gave me a fear of dolls for a lifetime, because this woman, the woman who portrays her, she gives such a creepy performance in this, and I just love Taki Tina. She'll just always just go, "My name is Taki Tina," and all that stuff. I know I'm sounding kind of weird through this, but that's just the way that they have her deliver her lines is just unbelievably creepy. I'm used to the Twilight Zone just having amazing twists, but this just scared me half to death. And the ending, I just love it. And Taki Tina's final line, I will not spoil this one, because I want you to see this one for yourself. This is just a terrifying episode. I did not think that the Twilight Zone would have the chutzpah to actually do this. It's a great episode. It deserves to be this far up. I watch this over and over again because I enjoy watching this to just get scared at nights. It's a great episode. See it. And now here we are at number 1. My all-time favorite Twilight Zone episode is The Monsters Are Due on Maple Street. The reason why I love this episode so much, the one that I can always visit over and over again, is because it's a very realistic scenario. And as I'm not going to explain the ending because it would be spoiling it, but this follows like a whole neighborhood who are completely cut off from technology and all this stuff, and one by one they start blaming each other, and they're trying to figure out who this monster is, because some people are getting lights and some aren't, and it's just going on and off, and they're wondering who is this person that is causing this to do this. I'm not going to spoil anything because this is obviously the best Twilight Zone episode I have ever seen. The acting is great among everybody. They all just do a great job just looking at each other with pretty much just glaring eyes. It's just really awesome to see how these people just create such a believable performance about what would happen if we were just cut off from technology completely. It's the best Twilight Zone episode out there, and it will always be, in my opinion. It's very believable. It's very enjoyable to watch for the half hour, and it's rewatchable like crazy. You can watch this over and over again without getting bored of it. You will really get used to these characters, and the final scenes when everybody just starts pointing fingers like nuts. It's just a great slam bang ending. So yeah, Monsters Are Due on Maple Street, best Twilight Zone episode ever made. And that's about it. I was about to say something from the group pretty much it, but oh well. So yeah, that's my list for the Twilight Zone episodes. The best one being Monsters Are Due on Maple Street. So I'm sorry I'm sorry I'm just sounding kind of shaky and all that. I was trying to do these in their own little single segments so that I wouldn't have to waste too much time on editing, because this is going to come across as a really long video now. So if I sound kind of shaky throughout the thing, it's just because I didn't really want to edit too much. So I'm going to try and do a top 10 list every week on Thursday. Call them Top 10 Thursdays. So hopefully I can do that. I'll have my Under the Dome review for the next episode next Monday, directly after the episode. And I'm hoping to get World War Z and Monsters University reviews in. But if you want to see some of my other reviews, click the link in the description below to find my website, www.butteredorburnt.com. I have a whole bunch of different reviews on there right now. And I'm going to be starting the American Pie series soon, so you should definitely check that out. So until the Under the Dome or World War Z or Monsters University, I will see you all later.